The more you help your team, the more likely you are to be overlooked for a promotion. I've helped dozens of managers get promoted, and once they make a few simple shifts, they finally get the title and the pay they deserved. So in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to shift the way you manage to fast track your promotion without sucking up or selling out your team. So how do you finally stop getting overlooked? Over the years, I've developed a promotion scorecard, or basically 4 key shifts every manager needs to nail to move up. The digital version is actually linked below if you want to use it. It gives you personalized advice based on where you can improve. So as I walk you through this now, score yourself honestly. Are you great, just okay, or do you need work? Because this reflection is what helps you make the shift that actually gets you promoted. The first part of the scorecard is the foundation for everything else. If you're not excellent at this, the other 3 just won't work. So how can you do that? Well, a simple way to think about how this works is by thinking about one of the greatest boxers to ever live in Mike Tyson. Explosive footwork, head movement like a blur, well, not in the Jake Paul fight, but that doesn't count. But what made Tyson truly great? It wasn't that he just threw punches, it's that every punch landed with intent and with impact. Most professionals, they obsess over polish, perfect tone, or smart phrasing, but none of that matters if your message doesn't move people. Because communication isn't about looking good, it's about landing hits. Because until your words hit with enough force to move your boss and your team, you're not getting promoted. So how can you make sure that your words get people moving? Well, you need to understand that with communication, there's no neutral words. And what I mean by that is that what you're saying is either helping or hurting your authority and your ability to get people going. You have to be almost surgical with the things that you say. So how do you do that? Well, you want to use what I call the impact check. It's a daily habit to sharpen your presence and land every single line. Number 1, you want to hook like a headline. Just like every great YouTube video starts with a hook, so should you. Don't open with, here's a quick update, or I just wanted to take a few minutes to review. Boring. No one wants to hear that. Lead with clarity and grab attention immediately so that they can't help but pay attention to your words. Something like, the more you help your team, the more likely you are to be overlooked for a promotion. Sound familiar? Don't worry, that's coming up in the next scorecard section. And then step number 2, replace weak language with precision. Every time you say probably, or I think, or maybe, you're asking people to doubt you, even if your idea is solid. And that's fine when you're brainstorming, but in high-stakes conversations, that language shrinks your presence. You want to sound like someone who's already thought it through, not someone asking for permission to be taken seriously. So swap out the vague filler for clear, decisive lines like, the risk here is, or we need to move on this by Friday, or here's what I recommend. These small shifts in phrasing lead to big shifts in how senior leaders read your confidence. And then step number 3, bottle your enthusiasm. In sales, if you want someone to listen, you want to have a full cup of enthusiasm, but you don't want to have it spilling over. Because when you want your team to do something, you're not just sharing info, you're actually transferring belief. Because if you're not excited about your idea, no one else will be. But overselling an idea is going to quickly kill their trust. So show calm intensity and be confident, not chaotic. That's how you get the buy-in with just your words. Step number 4, have a 10-second recap. End with a line that ties your message to impact. This will make sure that they walk away with the key message that you're trying to get across. You want to say something like, using clear and confident language with enthusiasm is how you get your employees charging into battle and how to get promoted in no time. But even if your communication moves mountains, it won't get you promoted if you're making this one leadership mistake that looks helpful but actually holds your team back. And that's when you help your employees. So if helping your team isn't the move, what is? Well, once you lock this in, you're going to see how much this has been massively holding you back. Well, here's an easy way to think about this. It's kind of like kids in school nowadays using ChatGPT to write their essays. Back in the day, when you had a paper due tomorrow, you'd pull an all-nighter fueled on anxiety and caffeine. But you got it done. And that scramble, it didn't just teach you how to write, it taught you how to think fast, manage pressure, and deliver when it counts. Nowadays, kids just punch in a prompt and they copy paste the output. They get the result, but it skips the reps and the discomfort, which means it skips the growth. And that's exactly what happens when you help your team by solving every problem for them. You think that you're being helpful, but you're actually stunting them. They might get through the day, but they never build the muscles they'll need tomorrow. And honestly, leadership sees it, because if your team can't operate without you, they're not promoting you. They're seeing someone who's too useful where they are to be able to move up. So this is the next section that you need to evaluate yourself on, and being able to let your team think on its own. You need to learn to delegate with intent and coach people through their problems to give them the skills to operate without you. So how do you do that? Well, here's how to start shifting that today. Number one, when they come to you with something, ask them, how would you handle it? Next time someone tries to throw a problem on you, stop before solving. Say, hey, how would you handle this? Then coach the thinking, not the task. If it's solid, greenlight the idea. If it's not, then guide them, but don't take it over. Do this consistently, and you start building a team that doesn't need you every time things get hairy. Then step number 2, fix the broken systems. If problems are consistently popping up, it's probably a systemic issue. So every week, spend at least 30 minutes not thinking about your team, but thinking like a business owner. You want to ask yourself, what's broken in our process? What's a risk no one's raising? What conversation would my boss want me to initiate? Then just act on one. This shows you're not just running a team, but you're actually starting to think big picture. This is how you prove yourself as someone who can build systems that last even after they get promoted. And then number 3, rehearse the strategic point before your next team meeting. Once you pick your big picture idea, prep it like a headline. Start with one point, keep it tight, tie it to the outcome. This is how you show your upper management not only your team can operate without you, but you are proactively trying to keep it that way. But now that you've created that space and your team is running without you, you're at a critical crossroads. What comes next is where most managers blow it, so it's crucial that you lock in this next part. So how do you make sure you nail this and get your promotion? Well, to explain what you need to do, first I want you to imagine that you own a restaurant. It's losing money, customers aren't coming back, and your Yelp is spammed with people saying your food is crap. But instead of fixing the food, you obsess over which forks to use. You spend hours debating matte black versus brushed steel. That would be ridiculous, right? Well, that's what it looks like when you get caught up in the thick of thin things. Or, in other words, when you're obsessed over things that literally don't matter. Execs don't promote people who keep the lights on. They promote the ones who ask, why aren't people coming back? And what's the recipe that actually works? Strategic thinking means stepping back from the fork and fixing the menu. So how can you start fixing the menu at your work? Well, here's your red flag for when you're off course. If you've ever hit Friday thinking, man, I've been slammed all week, but I still don't feel like I got anything done. That's not just frustrating, that's your strategy gap showing. So to avoid that, I use this end of week system. On Friday, ask yourself 3 questions. Number 1, what did I work on this week that made a real dent, not just cleared off my tasks? This helps you spot where your effort actually moved things forward, not just kept things running. And then number 2, where did I spend the time that didn't move the needle? This reveals your busy work traps, meetings, side tasks, or approvals that ate time but delivered nothing. And then number 3, what's the one high leverage thing I need to push next week, even if it's uncomfortable? This keeps you future focused, and it's not about ease, it's about impact. Look for the thing that will change the shape of your week, not just fill it. Write it down, say it out loud in your one-on-one, anchor your time to it. Using this simple end-of-week habit, leaders will start seeing you as someone who thinks beyond today's fire and start shaping tomorrow. But even if you're thinking bigger and finally pushing the right things, there's still one silent factor that can stall everything. What I'm about to show you is where we use everything we've learned to get you over the finish line and into your next role. So what's the last and most important piece to getting you promoted? This is honestly probably one of the hardest things to do out of the 4, but I've developed a few tricks over the years to make this a plug-and-play system for you. And a simple way to explain how this works is by comparing it to paying taxes. It's exciting stuff, I know, but just bear with me. Imagine you're filing your own taxes, but you don't submit them. You did everything right, you gathered all the receipts, you filled out the forms, double-checked the math, but because you didn't hit that one button, the system has no record of it. No refund, no proof, no credit. Now picture the same thing happening at work. You saved 100 hours on payroll, you built the crazy good system, you carried the team, but no one knows because you never submitted the value. And just like unfiled taxes cost you money, invisible work costs you a promotion. Because in corporate, if they don't see you, you don't get paid for it. So how can you make sure the right people see your great work? Well, here's 3 moves to fix that this week. Number 1, send a quick win update to your upper management. Doesn't need to be a speech, just something like, hey, I launched this new system and I saved the team 5 hours a week. Short, specific, impact focus. Step number 2, speak once in every cross-team meeting and prep the point. Don't just wing it. Pick one thing you want to land, then rehearse it using the communication tools from earlier. Start with the point, keep it tight, tie it to the result. That's how your words land and make you visible. And then step number 3, become the person who solves problems for upper management, even if they're not your direct boss. If you see something stuck or messy, offer to take it off their plate. Fix something that is slowing them down. You don't need permission. And that's how you go from being seen as someone who makes things easier at the next level. But even if you're making things easier, you might actually be making this critical mistake that holds most managers back, and that's being fair to your employees. So go watch this video where I show you how being fair is holding you back and what to do instead to make sure you lock in your next promotion.